All right, here we are. Stréam World News. So I can't guarantee if the connection is great or not. I'm not really sure, but we'll hope for the best here. Anyway, this is the first time I'm doing this style of video on the new channel. Done it quite a bit in the past. We did the Stréam World News segments, and we would cover different happenings in the world of Stréam. And one of the new things that has happened is that Bert Kreischer has, had a little realization about his life. He's decided that maybe life is a little different than it previously was, meaning that he had a coming down to reality sort of situation. A seeing God situation. I don't know how you want to say it, but he just noticed some things about reality that are, I'll just say interesting. So let me see what I can do with my layout here. Whatever. I won't mess with it too much. So I just want to check out the video by Too Lazy to Try. And take a look.
Recent episode of Two Bears, One Cave. The first 10 minutes of it turned into a therapy session for Bert Kreischer, which is usually how that podcast is, but this was worse than normal. Bert was all over the place. First, he started ranting about how much he hates doctors and dentists because it sounds like they're always telling him he needs to work on things and fix things and get healthier. Like he starts talking about some cholesterol medicine that it sounds like the doctor told him to take. But then I guess Joe Rogan sent him an article that said this medicine doesn't really do anything and it's not worth taking. So then Bert starts going off about how he doesn't trust doctors now. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. But then he mentions his dad because his dad's on this medicine. And Tom's like, how old was your dad when he had you? He was pretty young. And then that leads to Bert just randomly going off about how his parents never chased their dreams. He's like, yeah, that was back when people gave up on their dreams. And at first, it sounds like he's saying it as a bad thing, or it's like sad that they never try to do anything exciting. He's like, my mom wanted to be a dancer, but now she's just a teacher. But then he goes into this thing about how he envies it. And he's talking about how he just sees working class people sometimes. And he says he'll follow them around once in a while because he's jealous that they don't have to think about the problems they have in their life or something. I don't know. This is such a bizarre rant, but it sounds like he just thinks normal people don't have time to think about their problems. But I will give Bert some credit here because he at least does show some self awareness. Like he starts talking about how he's always just been a
So
man
we're on the
child. He's never really
self-awareness
grown
part,
up because he's always just done whatever he
right?
wanted.
So we're talking about self-awareness here. And, Bert Kreischer has sometimes been the type of guy to take his shirt off in front of an audience of folks. Let's bump that up to 1080p just so we can get a better zoom. Good enough. So, Bert Kreischer is the type of guy who sometimes will, and by the way, shout out to Red Bar. Credit where credit's due. He invented the. I've never seen anybody else use the zoom pinch to zoom technique on videos the way that he has. So I'm clearly getting. I try to give credit where credit's due, whether we've had a great history or not. It's one of the innovations that makes the broadcast higher quality when you can get those special moments. So anyway, and they've got a crest, of course, in the back. So Bert Kreischer is having a come to God moment or a come to earth moment, whatever you want to call it. And he's realizing that, I don't know if it's because his movie bombed and now he's seeing things for how they really are. But something has happened in his world. And, he doesn't like it. He's not happy about it. And so he talked to his friend, Tom Segura. Tom Segura, clearly a fan of coasters. He talked to him about it, and let's see what Too Lazy to Try's opinion of it is.
And doesn't really take on any responsibilities or something. And it sounds like he's going to start talking about his drinking problem, but then he starts going off about how much NyQuil he's been pounding recently, which they're
NyQuil, very similar to Robitussin. So I give him some credit there for being a scissor head. Also has an interesting hat. He's like, if me and another streamer were the same person, Red Bar has ripped on both of us.
there is alcohol in that, so I guess that's just.
I don't know if there's alcohol in NyQuil, but we don't need to. Only a fucking true syrup addict would split hairs on that. Let's continue.
Part of the drinking problem, because he always has to be drinking to relax or go to sleep or go on flights because he's scared of flights. But for some reason, he just keeps referring to NyQuil here. Like that's his biggest problem. Maybe because he doesn't want to admit that drinking overall is his biggest problem. And then at the end here, it's so funny. Tom's like, well, have you talked about any of this with your
NyQuil, DXM can fuck you up. It can fuck up your liver the same way as alcohol, if not worse. So that's why not enough people give me shit, for my past drug use, because they're like, whatever, it's fucking cough syrup. That's what babies drink.
therapist? This sounds like something you should be talking about with them. And Bert's response is basically like, are you crazy? What does this have to do with
That's also another thing. So he says that Bert doesn't want to talk to his therapist about cough syrup use. And that's a conversation I had with my wife one time when she's like, you're addicted to cough syrup. Have you talked to your therapist about this? And I was like, you know what? It never even occurred to me to talk about it. So that just shows that, it shows that we're both fucking stupid. But it also shows that, even if you have a therapist, it's really limited to how much you are willing to share with that person.
his biggest problem? And then at the end here, it's so funny. Tom's like, well, have you talked about any of this with your therapist? This sounds like something you should be talking about with them. And Bert's response is basically like, are you crazy? What does this have to do with therapy? I mean, I think this podcast is.
What does telling the truth about my life have to do with
more
therapy?
of a therapist for him at this point. Like he just starts going off about all his problems in this clip, and he's all over the place.
Yeah. If I could change one part of my body, it wouldn't be my teeth. Before I was gonna get my teeth totally done, top to bottom.
And then weren't they gonna break your jaw?
Yeah, they were gonna break my jaw. They were gonna pull out. Well, they were gonna remove all my teeth. They were gonna remove all my teeth and then break my jaw. It was a dentist or quack. Don't get me started on this.
All dentists are quacks. Now, I mean, look, maybe if you're going to I don't know. I mean, look, therapists can be quacks, dentists can be quacks, anybody can be a quack. But what I don't like is that he calls dentists quacks and doctors quacks, but he trusts Joe Rogan, a guy with, as Bill Burr has pointed out, no medical degree whatsoever.
Don't go to dentists.
Doctors are quacks. Everyone's quacks, man. Rogan told me, he's like,
Rogan, see, that's what I'm talking about.
He sent me this article on statins.
Sound like you've been talking to Annie a bunch. Go ahead.
He sent me an article. So, you never mind questioning the source,
Yeah.
And they're like, you don't even need statins. Like, they're like, it's like cholesterol medicine. Because they're like heart disease is hereditary.
Right.
It's not.
So you're going to get it anyway.
You're going to get it. My dad's on statins. His blood pressure is perfect.
How old is your dad?
He's 74.
So he kind of contradicted himself because he just said, my dad, statins don't help you. By the way, my dad's blood pressure is perfect and he's on statins. So do they work or do they not work? Do you trust the article? Do you trust your dad? you know, I feel like Bert has the same problem that maybe I do, which is that if you're around somebody who's confident enough, they could convince you that the sky is purple.
He's on statins. His blood pressure is perfect. His cholesterol
Your
is
dad was
perfect.
young when they had you. 24?
Yeah. That's back when people gave up on dreams. Think about that.
That
No
was
dreams.
back
Think
when
about
people
that.
gave up on dreams. Look, people are giving up on dreams all the time. And, it's just how it is. What's up, Mr. Cord? Do you still do a call-in segment? Possibly on the new Busters era of the show. We'll do something like that. Good to see you. This is just more of a, Stream World News where we cover some topics. This particular topic is Bert. But yeah, I'm trying to get back into it and have fun with it. Most importantly, want to have fun with it.
No dreams. No, my mom, no dreams. No dreams. Wanted to be a singer, wanted to be an ice skater. Nope, teacher. Think about that. I think about that sometimes when
Now, the funny thing is that Bert doesn't consider that being a teacher could be someone's dream. In his opinion, unless you are thinking big like show business, you do not have dreams. But being a teacher, I mean, yes, it is, it's not as glamorous as rock and roll or touring and doing stadiums. You still have a captive audience. You're still the person in charge. You're still being a doctor could be someone's dream. So I'm not really sure about the logic here.
I see dudes like get in an elevator with like a briefcase and then work boots.
Yeah.
And then like
What's up,
jeans that are kind of like, and then a shirt that's a collar, but it's got a name written right here.
Uh-huh.
And you see the dude and you can just see it in his eye.
It says my battery's low, so I'm going to cover as much of this as possible. I really hope it doesn't run out, but good to see you.
I was like, I killed it today. I busted.
Yeah.
But like, this doesn't, I'm not getting an award for this. This is just work.
Yeah.
And I see that and I look up to that guy. I go, I wish I had what you have. Sometimes I'll follow them down to the bar at hotels.
So I actually really like this version of Bert. People might think that Bert is losing it, that he's lost his marbles, but I much prefer the version of Bert Kreischer where he's self-aware, where he realizes that showbiz is not the norm, that regular life is what 90% or more of human beings are living, and that there's no reason to look down on that. And I actually think Tom Segura is laughing. He's laughing at Bert like he's being crazy, but he's kind of making a lot of sense.
Getting an award for this. This is just work.
Yeah.
And I see that and I look up to that guy. I go, I wish I had what you have. Sometimes I'll follow them down to the bar at hotels and watch them order. And they don't think about statins. They just think about like,
I killed it today.
you got a cheeseburger?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. What do you want to drink? Oh, double Jack on the rocks.
Yeah.
Now, while Bert's opinion of it might be a little simplistic, and might, the regular people may have thoughts going on in their head as well. I do get what he's saying. I know people, like sometimes I'll go to somebody's birthday party and it's astounding how content people are with living just a totally average life. That's not to say that I'm living a wildly amazing life. It's just to say that I need novelty. I need shiny, exciting things happening in life to be truly content. Whereas other people are just able to just, clock in, do your shift at, Best Buy, clock out, go to the bar, drink, you're content. and you don't, and I think for me, maybe I was kind of, I don't want to place blame because, you know, I just feel like I got the message in life that if I just worked at a supermarket, or if I just did um a job stocking shelves or a blue collar job of any type, that I would be a loser, which I think is like a really shitty, not good message, because then if you can't attain this high level of achievement, then you kind of feel like you're worthless. So yeah. But that might not even be the message that people were trying to send to me. That might just be the message that I took in internally. Because there's how people talk to you, and then there's how you actually take things in. Somebody could say, "Oh, you've got quite the house," and you could be like, "Oh, they mean I have quite a nice house." Or you could think, "Oh, they think I have quite a shitty house." It's all about interpretation. So I don't want to place any blame there. Um, let's continue. But I see a lot of myself in Bert.
And then you watch him and you go, yeah, man, that's the majority of this world is just getting after it
Damn
day to
hell.
day.
Sure.
And you look at pussies like me who wake up at midnight and then take more NyQuil because they don't want to sit with their thoughts. I can't get on an airplane. I can't get on an airplane. I mean, I look at like men. I am so far from a man. I am so far from a man.
I mean,
like there's some self-actual.
That's what I was saying to my wife the other day. Like, I don't feel like a man. I feel like an old boy. I feel like people around me have these grown up perceptions of life, whereas I very much feel like I'm, a teenager at the oldest. I ride skateboards. I think about things in a very simple way. And I don't know if it's I don't know if it's an intelligence thing or a maturity thing, or if most people are like this, but it is a real feeling that I've had that is very similar to what he's talking about.
What is
that's been
happening today?
Like I'm so far from like a man, right? A man who goes, yeah, everyone else first, then me. It's not how I think. I go me, and then, oh, there are other people here.
Now, I will say for me, the probation officer incident, the situation where I have to just suck it up and accept whatever the probation officer tells me, that has been helpful in setting aside my ego. So maybe childishness, being a child, has a little bit to do with having an untamed ego that thinks that it just should be treated perfectly, like this probation officer, she shouldn't be mean to me. I'm a little boy, and the reality is I'm 32 years old. She probably sees me as an adult, arguably. I have no idea, but it's just a weird dynamic when your biological age and your calendar age don't match up, like, or your experience, your internal age and your external age don't match up. It's almost like instead of gender dysphoria, it's age dysphoria. But it's weird because the world doesn't really discourage it either. Like the world these days does kind of encourage you to act in childish ways. Um, there are a lot of video gamers who are 45 years old, 50 years old. A lot of them. And I just, they market video games, M-rated games. You can't even buy them until you're an adult. So it's like, how are you supposed to grow up when the whole world is telling you to stay a child?
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if
What do you think that is, though?
I don't know. I wonder if I wonder if I never became a man, like if I'm still a boy,
There's a definitely boyish quality to you. You drink a whole bottle?
I went through it.
But, what I don't think Tom Segura realizes is that he's got his own version of it. Like, so Tom Segura's need to have a Rolex and a flashy car and, show off his wealth. That is his version of being a man child. Bert, honestly, but I just think Bert is more honest about it. I don't know if Tom is in any way any more mature than Bert is. I think Tom is just better at putting on the grown-up face and saying, whatever. Or he's depressed. I don't know. But I do think that, this guy is not a grown-up either.
Yeah.
I went through a lot of the bottle, enough that